live. Oops. Hi, everybody. I needed the levity. Thank you, Samantha. Hi, folks. Uh, this is Heather Vickery, and I am here with the lovely Samantha. And I'll let you introduce yourself, and then I'll do, because we're both live on both of our platforms. So introduce yourself and all of your awesomeness, and then I'll do the same, and then we'll just have a good conversation.
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Gregory, the Self Care Alchemist, and I am the founder, runner of the Self Care Oasis podcast and newsletter, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm here all about making self care an integral part, a sustainable part of your lifestyle so that you can live a life from transforming burnout into balance and bliss. So, and we're going to be talking a little bit about bliss today, and I'm happy to be with Heather.
Yes. Hey, Margaret. Oh, I'm glad you're here. You guys are going to love each other. I'm Heather Vickery. I am a transformation coach that helps conscious, heart centered leaders learn to lead from embodied joy by learning to deeply and completely know, like, and trust themselves, and then rewire, reprogram all the bullshit that's been put on them that isn't theirs and that keeps them from that joy and that bliss. And Samantha and I recently met at the Drop the Mic Podcasting Unsummit, which is awesome. So shout out to Becky Mellencamp and the Feminist Podcaster Collective for bringing cool people together. I appreciate it, Samantha. You were so kind. You reached out right away and you were like, our messages are they're jiving. Let's chat. And I appreciate it. And I was just telling Samantha, we started here a couple of minutes late because those of you who know, I have 4 daughters. My 15-year-old, who has a brand new driver's permit, got in we're all okay, really bad car accident last night. We think that my car is totaled and 3 other cars are damaged.
Mm.
So I was a little late because I've been dealing with some insurance stuff there. So, when we set the topic for this conversation, we were just thinking about what a shit show the world is. And it's Rapture Day. So we were talking. I assume that nobody who's watching us is planning to be sucked up into the heavens today. If you are, you might not like us anymore. I don't know. It's okay. Um, but the universe will show up in the strangest of ways, talking about finding joy and bliss when the world feels on fire. When your 15-year-old daughter has just gotten into a car accident, that's terrifying. I was in the car with her. She can't drive by herself. Your car is potentially totaled, and financial resources are tight. And then there are 3 other cars involved. I have been using all of my tools the last, 18 hours. I really have been.
Yeah, I can imagine. That is scary. I have 2 young adults now, and my biggest fear was they were going to get in car accidents. Neither one of them have. My son doesn't drive, actually. He's on the autism spectrum, so he's still, thinking about getting his driver's license. But my daughter, she's been driving for years and has been all good. My nephew did total her car, though, because that's a whole nother. But at the end of the day, we're just thankful that they are alive, that they are well, and that, your daughter is good. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We are. And these things do happen. And that's why she said, Mommy, why aren't you yelling at me? And I said, well, maybe 15 years ago, that is how I would have responded. But that doesn't solve any problems. And this is why I believe so firmly in the work that both you and I do. When you do the work to lead with joy, to have bliss, to do these things, you are required to gain resources to help you deal with trauma and disappointment and tragedy and all of those things. And so I just was really channeling that inner calm and peace and knowing that here's what I can control, here's what I can't control, right? Deep breathing, just really centering myself on it. So we don't have to focus on that, but I thought it was really interesting that showed up. Just another way that it's beneficial to make the effort to seek your bliss, to lead with embodied joy, because it serves you in every possible capacity.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that being equipped, having those tools that you mentioned before is so crucial. And it gives you a grounding that you wouldn't have otherwise when you are faced with, challenges and issues and situations that feel untenable, especially now in this world politically, the world that now is on what we feel like is on fire. But with these tools, you can ride the storm. You can find, I don't know, what would you use in a fire? I guess to
With
save.
the fireproof blanket, right? Your stop, drop, and roll tools. Yeah, I think that's a really good, like, wow, sorry guys. I don't know, metaphor? Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Somebody whose brain hasn't been trying to deal with all of this in the last, but yes, I think it's just like resources that you would use to survive anything else that is a shock to the system. In addition to, and I really want to have you sort of talk about what led you to Bliss, what that means to you, what that looks like. But for me, with joy, it is. I always say that when we learn to embody joy and lead with it, we show up differently, we engage differently, and we have a more positive response and reaction. So obviously, that means that lots of good things can come from it, and we can produce, we can manifest more of the things that we desire, and better relationships and better communications. And we focus on that element a lot of what good things can you get from embodying joy. I don't talk quite as much about how having that as a foundation helps you through challenging times. Uh, and with the country, with personal issues like this, like a car accident or health or something like that. Um, it's that foundation that you build up
Mhm.
that gives you the resources that you need to be able to think clearly, to process. I always talk a lot about taking radical responsibility for yourself. So, okay, here's all the stuff that I can't control. Here's what I can. Now, who do I want to be in this moment? So, Samantha, I'd love to have you share a little bit about like what led you to Bliss, how stuff like this plays in, all that good stuff.
Sure. So I spent years depressed. I spent years depressed. And it was, people say, is it nature or nurture? And I think for me, it was a bit of both. So the nurture part of it was seeing my parents depressed and not having tools to cope. And as I got older, I was just like, baffled, like, how do I learn how to cope in the world when problems show up, when stressors show up, when it looks like everything is just burning down and I have no tools to really manage my emotions and all the things that I need. And then having a lot of unhealed trauma, also going on this path of I want to heal this part of myself so I make better decisions. And if I can't, so that when I make better decisions, then I find that my life gets better, my money gets better, my relationships get better. And then I kind of allowed it to alchemize into this process for me, recognizing that, like, after my last divorce, I was attracting such toxic relationships, people into my life, and needing to take a break and heal and just really get clear on what do I want my life to look like, and then
I love that.
figure out the process of making it happen. And I landed on radical self-care, really radical selfishness because I've been giving myself away to so many people for my entire life because that was the narrative that I was given. You
Yeah.
you put others before yourself. You never think of yourself because that's selfish. And I just had to say, you know what, those rules going out of the out of the window for me. I'm going to start all over. Radical self-care became my mantra. And then as I got into that space of taking care of myself and putting my needs first, then I realized, you know what, I've never really enjoyed life. I've never
Mm,
enjoyed just living and being and feeling safe. And so then I started to focus in on feeling safe, allowing joy to unfold in my life,
mm.
enjoying every part of my life. And I'm still working on that. I'm a work in progress. I mean,
Always, right? Aren't we
Yeah,
all?
yeah,
Yeah.
years and years and years of the same depressive moments and episodes and releasing that out of my body. So that was what led me on this path to bliss and recognizing that bliss is one of the highest states of vibration and frequency. And I just really wanted to be there. And that is playfulness and joy and watching the clouds and letting go of all the cares that I had just piled up in my life, and just
Mm,
when I was able to let that go, then I could find my bliss, and I can live it every single day. So one of my
yeah.
mantras now is follow your bliss, and everything just unfolds for you.
I love that. And you said something that I think is like enjoying the clouds. Like there's so much of leading, and I think we're talking about the same thing. When you're saying follow your bliss, and I'm saying lead with joy, I think that's really, they're very similar, but it is finding what others might not recognize or the mundane to be worthy of attention, worthy of, like, I love to sit out and I'll see a butterfly flitter by or a bird and I stop it. I just, show gratitude. I'm like, that's so cool. We had, the other day I went into my bathroom and I looked down and there was something on the floor in the bathroom. I was like, what is that? And it was like this big. And then I was going
Mhm,
it was a wing of something, a
mhm,
moth maybe, but a very dead one. It was like skeletal. But I picked it up and I'm like, this is so incredible. Like nature is incredible. First of all, I don't know where the rest of this creature was, but its
yeah,
perfect skeletal wing was there. And I could see, I've never looked that closely at the structure. You know what I mean? Like it just takes us out of this mindset, this mentality of catastrophe or survival mode, even.
mhm,
And when we do that, it stimulates our parasympathetic nervous system. It helps us somatically settle ourselves. So I just, yes. So, what are
yeah,
some of the ways that you embody that? What's the work that you do? You said you're a work in progress. I am too. We always
mhm.
are. What are some of the ways that you practices and things that you do to make that work for you?
At first, it was really all about journaling. I journaled a lot just because I needed to get all that the pressure of the thoughts and overthinking out of my head and put it on paper, and I still do that to a degree. I do a lot of voice notes now, so I don't do
Mm,
as I
I
used
love
to.
a voice note. Yeah.
So and I'm learning to use my throat chakra so that I can be more vocal and expressive, as well, and the most recent thing is now that I've learned that nervous system regulation and that my body wasn't feeling safe, even though I had good head knowledge, even though I understood things from a cerebral standpoint, my body was still in the space of, "Yeah, we're not sure about that.
Yeah.
What you're talking about is good, but we need to feel safe here." And so, I s at first, before I even learned about the nervous system regulation, I was doing EFT.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, emotional freedom technique, and that really was, helping me to release a lot of old stories and trauma and, feeling grounded in my body, and,
Yeah.
that when I tell you that was like a miracle worker for me, it just especially an old relationship, romantic relationship I had been holding on and off for almost 20 years to get that person out of my system, EFT. I
Yeah.
It worked
I
for me.
I love EFT. So I'm actually a certified EFT practitioner and trainer and coach, but I've been doing it a lot longer than that. And I got into it originally because I would say, I believed, I had a limiting belief that I couldn't meditate. Now,
Mhm, mm,
I hear that from people all the time. I can't do it, or I don't do it, or I'm not patient enough to do it. And I don't particularly love quiet, still meditation, although I can do it. I've trained myself now, 20, 30, 45 minutes. But I started with EFT because it is meditative. It is a form of meditation, but I was in action. And because there was physical movement and words,
mhm,
I could do it and I wasn't distracted and I wasn't pulling myself out of
right,
it. Um, but EFT is so cool because when you're tapping on all these different meridian points
mhm,
that literally do subconsciously reprogram you. And I love that you let go of an unhealthy attachment to a past relationship. I do it all the time. My daughter does it to help her fall asleep. And I will have
Mhm.
clients who are like in the middle of a really stressful situation and I'll say, "Can you," they'll text me or call me, "Can you go to the bathroom?" And even if you don't know what to say, just through the points, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself, and just do that two
Oh,
or three
yeah.
rounds is
Mhm.
enough to really help people like stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system and step out of one way of being and into another. So I don't know how many folks who are here. We have a few have already done
Mhm.
EFT, um, but I love, love, love that
Yeah.
that you do that. Yeah.
And then I started learning more somatic movements. I learned, ear tugging. I learned the eye movement.
Yes.
I learned so much. And then I tell you, it just like released a lot of this stuff that happened for me and
Mhm.
made me feel safer. And I started to tell myself that I'm safe. And hug myself, squeeze, and, I do all the things. And I do more meditation, just the stillness, because I recognize how impactful it is for me, and I don't do it that I really don't no more than 10 minutes, really.
I keep it
Um,
short too. I really do.
because I think when we drag it out in a sense, it makes it feel like a chore,
It can.
than it should be. Now, if it goes longer, great, I'll do that,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
on some music that can help take me deeper into the meditation, and I feel great when I finish, but I also get some of my best downloads, in the meditative
Oh,
state.
yeah. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you said that because I do. So I have a membership community called the Spark Collective, which is designed to help people get more in touch with their intuition, trust themselves better, all of that good stuff, take radical responsibility for themselves. And the whole point in that is for people who don't have the time, all the gurus that, you meditate for an hour and then you cold plunge and then I don't know, you exercise for an hour, like all the things. The Spark Collective is designed to do this work for yourself in the cracks. And so it's great. If you want to do an hour meditation and you can and you have the time and you like that, fantastic. But if you do 10 minutes, like Samantha was saying, or like I often do, that also works. And it's the
Yeah.
compound effect. So
Mhm.
I am so glad that you brought that up because most of the things that I do can be done in 10 or 15 minutes or less, which is why I created the Spark Collective, right? I wanted other people to have these resources because life is busy and it's chaotic and it's bullshit to say that there isn't time for you to nurture yourself. You said get selfish, and I love that. My website says it's not selfish, it's self first.
Mhm.
Um, because the truth is that when the caregivers, and so many of us are those, even if our children are grown, even if they're out of the house, our community, our neighbors, our friends, wherever, if we don't take care of ourselves,
Mhm.
who's going to be there to do the taking care of?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then it's all part of filling your cup
Yeah.
process, the overflow. I'm very big into let it fill it till it overflows and then give from that overflow instead of trying to give from the cup, because all the cup content is for you. And then the rest,
Yes.
they benefit from it, and you don't need to have um your cup and trying to deplete you from all of the energy that you have stored up for yourself. So,
Yeah.
and it's protection too.
And it feels like, I mean, I'm giddy, I'm excited, I'm into it, but it feels really like a radical thought process to say everything that's in the cup is supposed to be for you. It's
Mhm.
your cup. It's the overflow that you have to share. Like that is a radical mind shift
Absolutely.
from what society tells us is supposed to be true.
Mhm.
Most people are running from depletion and certainly not overflow. And this visualization, I did years, this is so funny. It brings up this random thing. Years ago, I have a friend who is not woo. She is not woo. And suffice it to say, I am. But she had kind of like hit her emotional limit on some things and finances and stress and clients were low. And she texted me and she was like, I don't know what to do. Going into
Mhm.
this meeting, I want to book this client, but nothing's selling. I need to change my mindset. I need to shift my energy before I go in. And I was like, okay, well, if you're willing to play with me,
Mm,
let's play a game. And I said, I want you to close your eyes and take a deep breath and envision your hands overflowing. What are they overflowing with?
mhm,
And she said, jewels. And then she laughed. And I said, great. What color are they? Are they like, what are they? Right? See that, see the overflow. And as you go into this meeting, go into that space with these rubies in your hands,
mm.
just spilling out of your palms because you're so filled with abundance. And if she booked the client, right? So it's like
Wonderful.
that energy shift changes things, and it takes that intentionality piece. For you, Samantha, what does that intentionality piece look like for you? How do you hold yourself accountable? How do you know when you need to pull out your tools and resources and all
Mm.
that fun stuff?
These days is less needing to pull them out because they're just a part of who I am.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. Before though, it was, okay, how am I feeling right now? When things get kind of frazzled and I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling hypervigilant. I would take time to breathe and just center myself. And I will say today, like when I'm between tasks, I would say work tasks, I'm just audibly now saying, okay, reset. When I'm done thing and I'm wanting to move into something else, I'll do something. I'll say that either reset or I'll get up, go do something, take care of my bodily functions, wash the dishes, just because I needed a different shift, a reset,
Yeah.
and because uh, I feel like ADHD,
Me too.
I need dopamine to keep going, and stay interested in what I'm doing. You know, I'm a multitasker as well. And when I say multitask, I don't mean I'm trying to do different tasks, but I need to hear music in the background, or I need something to occupy that brain of mine in the background so that
Yeah.
I can stay focused and on task. So those are a couple of things that I do. I need to make sure my space is neat. It's a
Okay.
little tidy. Clutter, it distracts me. And I'm learning that more and more. And when I'm saying these are like new things I'm learning about myself, um,
I love that.
calmer, I feel more present, I feel more grounded. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I have to ask, are you a manifesting generator in human design?
Yeah.
You are.
Yes. Emotional
The
manifest
An
at that.
emotional manifesting generator. Yeah. I figured as much when you talked about the different, you like to do all the different tasks and moving on. That makes a lot of sense. I'm a projector.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I have had to learn to do, projectors are here. We're supposed to rest before we're successful, which is so counterintuitive to the way the world is built, especially this country. Um, and I was just having this conversation with a friend yesterday. I have learned, and it has taken me a long time the limiting voice that always dogged me the most was, you don't work hard enough. You're so lazy. If I wasn't working all the time like everybody else, and you have your computer and your phone in your hand all the time, why aren't you working all the time? You're not successful
Right.
because you don't work all the time. That story, oof, it very rarely rears its ugly head these days because I, I just there's no space for it. I do all the work and it comes, naturally now. But what I don't do is force work. If I have clients or meetings or live streams, I show up, I do those things. If I'm in a building or production phase on something, if I need to write emails or, newsletters or whatever, I sit down and I do the things. If I'm building something from scratch, like right now I'm working on a subliminal audio quiz for my website so people could see what sorts of things they need to work on. It's a task, and I give myself a certain amount of time to work on those tasks. I do all the things that I need to do, not only to nurture my business and grow it. And then I don't work. I don't
Mhm.
force myself to sit here and get busy and make shit up. So some
Right.
days that means I rest a lot more than I work. And
Mhm.
learning to be really good with that and in the flow with that has been game changing. And my morning affirmation, I've been doing this since the weather got warm all summer. I have to ask myself, am I going to do this in the winter? Because I go out into my backyard barefoot and I ground into
Mhm.
the earth and I envision the golden cord coming from the core of the earth through my body and up, connecting me, to the cosmos. And I do know that this energy field that we're in right now needs to be vertical, not horizontal.
Right,
And
yeah.
I say, everything is always working out for me. The outcomes adjust as abundance flows because
Mhm.
everything is always working out for me. What I desire desires me, and I desire financial ease and freedom and abundance while I rest, while I play, while I read, while I do things with my loved ones, while I travel. And everything is always working out for me. The outcomes adjust as abundance flows
Yes,
over
yes.
and over. And I'll tell you something wild. My daughter had this car accident yesterday. We have a $500 deductible, which I'm pretty grateful is not higher,
Oh, yeah.
but money is really tight right now. And then I got an email. Have you ever heard of the drink Poppy? Like this,
Eh,
the probiotic soda? Yeah. I love them. And I've been trying to cut traditional soda out of my life.
mhm.
Um, Hoping I can connect to the earth in Chicago. I'm in Chicago too, Lori. I'm in Chicago too. Maybe we can connect. So I drink this drink and I have been drinking it a lot. And within the last several years, sometimes a lot, like several, I buy a lot of it. There's a lawsuit out because they claim that it's gut health and they've proven that it's not gut health. I still like to drink. I have consumed 48, 49, 12 packs. They are giving you $9 per 12 pack. So since 2020,
Mhm.
it's almost $800
Wow.
that I will get in this lawsuit settlement. Now, I don't know when it'll come in, but that offsets my car deductible.
What the Look, we love it.
We love it. But I was like, I can't help but feel like this is divine intervention. This is the surrender release. This is, I am cared for. I am taken care of. I believe that everything will work out for my greater good because the universe is always working on my behalf. And then
Mhm.
we get to sometimes see manifestations for it, which is crazy what happens. And when you're paying attention, you're like, holy shit, that worked. That works. This trust in the universe.
Absolutely, it does, and I love that because that's another mantra is, everything always works out. And so when I tell you I've been manifesting since I was a young adult, and it's not been like a conscious thing for me. It's always been, I wonder how that would work out. I wonder because let me tell you the story. So when I was a teenager, young adult, I went to a school. We had a tour of the area. It was for university, and in the same city as Marshall Space Flight Center, aka NASA. Um,
Okay.
and we went on tour of that facility, and I was just looking out the window on the bus, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder what it'd be like to work here." Just a passing thought. Okay, less than 10 years later, I ended up working there.
I
And
love that.
I worked there for as an intern first, and then I worked full time, and that was a contract role, but it was still had a NASA badge and all the good stuff. So it's so interesting how when you put it out there and detach from it, that's what I'm learning the most, and
You've
I
got to
think you
detach.
detach from it and it becomes a reality. It was just, "Oh, wow, I wonder how that would work out for me," you know? And I love
Yeah.
it take the pressure away, and it wasn't something that, again, that I was consciously thinking about or I wasn't desperate for or any of those things, but it just happened for me, and I know that as people are learning to, get in this space of allowing, and I think that's
Mm,
a self-care, alchemy, it are able to release so much mess and stuff and trauma and drama that you open the field, the energetic field, the universal field to allow good to happen to you. And
yeah.
like effortlessly manifest for you, especially when you have the frame of mind. everything always works out for me. And even as our world looks like it's burning down, everything always works out for me, even though they say in the news the economy is bad, we're losing jobs, we're turning into a certain kind of state where, all the bad things that happen, it's like you stay grounded in the fact
Yeah.
that everything just works
Yeah.
out.
Yes. Yes. The state of allowing. I think that's so beautiful. There are two things that really struck me with that. One is um, you also have to let go of your expected outcome of when.
Yes.
Because you said in less than a decade, right? Like we think like, but next week or by Tuesday, we have to trust that it will come to us when we're ready to handle it, when we're
Yeah.
ready to receive it. And then the other thing is like you said, you mentioned all of the ick. Um, this work also requires that we recognize the ick is actually there. All of those things can be true. We're not doing toxic positivity and pretending all of that nastiness isn't there. We are saying and yet or
Mhm,
and so I will, because uh it's all going to work in its own divine timeline.
mhm,
And we want to stay present for it. And the other thing is, I don't know who all's watching. I'm a fierce activist. I spend to not as much. I don't. I have some friends who really spend every waking moment doing activism work, and I honor them. And they're so wonderful to me because they say you give what you can when you can, and that's enough. So I
mhm,
appreciate that. But I know that if I did not do these things that we're talking about, I would not be able to make the activist impact that I wouldn't have the energy, the voice, the gumption. I wouldn't have all of those things to be part of a revolution that's making a difference, that's trying to shift the global narrative on things.
mhm.
So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. There was something else I was gonna mention. Well, in in regards to how we're handling the media onslaught, I call it, I think, onslaught, to distract us,
Yes.
make us feel out of control and in perpetual survival mode. It
Yes.
it's like if we give in to the narrative that's being projected onto us, then we're disempowered. And that's what I wanted to say. We become more self-empowered, grace, joy, and bliss when we can really recognize our own power. And we saw it already, the power of the people to change a whole story around, a whole narrative around regarding Jimmy Kimmel and how that was because the people were like, okay, no, I know that power of the purse will change the story. And I know that it's going to give me a little bit of power that the media is trying to take away, that the government is trying to take away. And I think as we continue to um, ground in joy and bliss, we can retain our power
Mhm.
and remain self-empowered so that whatever, no matter what they say in the media, it affects you, but it doesn't infect you.
And it doesn't own you,
Doesn't own
right?
you.
It doesn't infect you. I love that. I love that. It affects you, but it doesn't infect you.
Mm,
Y'all take that. Take that. Oh, write it down, put it on your phone because that's, one of the things I did a live show on this just a couple weeks ago about sometimes the path of least resistance is the most powerful choice that you can make. And when
mm,
when we're all conditioned to have the last word, always be right, never give up, like blah, 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 how much of an energy vampire that is. Cause then you're being infected by
yes.
all this shit that you can't control.
Mhm,
And learning to just go, okay, and
yeah,
walk away is such a power play. Now, and so there's a reflective question. If I respond here, will it change the outcome? Will it get us somewhere better than we are? And an honest answer, yes or no. If it's yes, then okay, fight that battle. If it's
mhm,
no, though, then it's that walking away. It's that path of least resistance. It's not being infected. I love all of that. I think it's so important. So there's got to be that reflective piece. You've got to have radical honesty with yourself. You've got to hold yourself accountable for doing that introspective reflection and reassessment work so that you have the information you need
Yeah.
to decide, is this worth the energy? Should I just walk away? What do I want to do now? Oh, you know what? I'm really riled up. Let's do an EFT tapping, or
Right.
let's, do some breath work or whatever. Samantha, do you do subliminal audios? I know you do other NLP
I
somatic
have
work.
that I think I've maybe done it once or twice. I don't know if the Silva method is part of in that framework, but, I tried it once. I have not really done it again because I'm more into the let me it's about my body and the
You like your
safety of
the physical body. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
safety of, is important to me.
I love that. I love subliminal audios. I like to listen to them, and I have clients who like they want to do EFT tapping or they want to do hypnotherapy, and I can either guide them through or we can do recordings for them. But they know themselves well enough to know, especially the ones who work in the corporate world and it's just a rat race. They're like, I'm not going to give myself 10 minutes to stop and do it. I wish I would, but I'm not. And so subliminal audios are awesome because sometimes, like this transformative work can be so hard. And it can't always be hard all the time. And so, what I love about subliminals is sometimes it gets to be easy, which is nice.
Mm,
And I actually have, if anybody's curious, I have an entire catalog of human design centered subliminal audios. So for
ooh,
type, strategy, authority, profile lines, environment, and then all 9 centers, either defined or undefined, they're 30-minute audios and you can just play them in so whatever you need. And I use mine all the time. The other day I was having a hard time getting focused and following through with something that I knew I needed. So I listened
mhm,
to my undefined heart center, because the heart center is your motivation. It's getting your shit done, right? When I'm feeling giving to myself a hard time about not working as much as everybody else does, then I listen to my strategy audio, because my strategy is to rest and wait for the invitation, and it remind like so they are so great. And I don't know, we have a couple people here. I can't remember who all is here, if anybody here has them. Kevin, do you have any of the subliminal audios? I saw Kevin Chung here. Hi, Kev. Um, but they're great because they truly do work. And what most people tell me and what I find for myself is there is a deeper sense of calm more quickly. There's a little bit more clarity, a little bit more creativity, and they just play in the background
I
while
like
you're
that.
doing your work, while you're doing your laundry, while you're going for a walk, while you're making dinner. Um, it's just nice, because sometimes it's nice to make a difference in your internal self
Mhm.
without having to prioritize specific time, or, make it
Yeah. Yes,
take up your
yes.
schedule. Yeah.
I I love it, and I'm all about easy. Like, what's easy, what's accessible, that can move the needle when you're feeling a little stuck, when you're feeling fragmented, when you feel like you can't, get past a certain barrier or block. So if it's something that's quick, that's easy, that has, that makes you feel, better and able to release, some of the thing that's kinda heavy on you at in the moment, I'm all for
Yeah.
it, so I have to check
Yeah.
those
Yeah, I would
subliminal.
love you check them. I would love to have you check them out. Let me know what you think, and if anybody else is curious. Um, What are the resources that you, as a business professional, have available for people, Samantha? If they're, first of all, if you are already following Samantha and you're here, I would love for you to follow me. Like, let's connect, let's be friends. If you're here because you follow me, make sure you are connected with Samantha. And Kevin Chung is here. He's also in the Feminist Podcaster Collective. So you two should get to know each other there, because
Sure.
just he's just amazing. But yeah, like what services, how do you support people? Let folks know, like, all the amazing things that you bring to the table.
Sure. So I do offer one-on-one coaching to bring people from transforming their burnout into better balance, more boundaries and bliss. Um, I love doing this kind of work, helping support people through the process. Thanks, Kevin. I also have my digital twin called Sammy. It is an AI powered self care BFF, and it's based on my IP. So it's not ChatGPT, Claude, or any of those other ones. It's all my
It's so cool.
property, so if you to selfcarealchemist.com/Sammy, SAMI, you can chat or talk with my digital twin and get all so many. I mean, you can get personalized self care plans. You can just get basic questions answered if you're struggling, whatever it is. And so I think that's like one of my favorite pet projects.
So fun.
It can really.
How was building that? What was that like?
Oh, it was great. It was fun. I really enjoyed it, and because I have, like 2 years in tech, it was kind of a no-brainer for me when I found out I could actually do this and give people another tool that they can use to, get support when I'm not available or if it's out of their budget or they just need something at 2 o'clock in the morning to talk to. Go talk to Sam,
Yeah.
and, she can give you some answer questions, point you to resources that I have, and just be there as your literally your stuff. Yeah.
You know what I love about that is I think people are using ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini in that way. And then you're feeding into that platform, you're giving them your personal information, they're regurgitating that for other people. And if you're using Sammy,
Mhm.
then that's not happening. Your information isn't being farmed, your stuff isn't being taken to reproduce other things. So that feels so much psychologically safer and physically safer, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that so much.
Yeah. So, and it's, from my years of coaching, consulting, and it's not just for self-care, it's also capacity building in your business, or your personal life, whichever it is, because oftentimes people in business, they are running up against a brick wall because they just don't have the energy, the capacity, because so much is already, um occupying their brain. Ma
Yeah.
there's this trend and that trend and that you should do this, the gurus are saying that, and this is like, "Okay, so how am I gonna do all this stuff?" How am I going to, find the time when I'm juggling all of these roles? And so I also, help coach you on how to build capacity in a healthy way so that with the self-care integrated so that you can show up fully in your business and not,
It's beautiful.
eh,
Yeah.
every area of your life.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, you guys should definitely check that out. For those of you who don't know me, so I mentioned the Spark Collective $18 a month membership where you can show up. You get intuitive journal prompts weekly that are based on human design transit. So it's energy that's alive and active across the world. Um, Helping you reflect. There's accountability, there's support, there's a content library of things you can do in the cracks 10 or 15 minutes a day, a couple times a week to show up for yourself, to love on yourself, regulate yourself, all of that. In addition to that, I do private coaching as well, human design readings, subconscious reprogramming work, but then I host retreats all over the world. Samantha, you going to come with us to Costa Rica? So in January 2026, we're going to the Imaloa Institute in Costa Rica, and it is a wellness retreat all about reclaiming your peace, listening to your inner truth, your inner voice, rest, community, connection. We have about 5 spots open. If anybody's watching, or if Samantha, if you want to come, prices start at $2,900 all inclusive. They go up if you want a private room, but it's going to be amazing,
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I love retreats, so I'm
right?
tap in, because I like it's a smaller container of people that you can connect on one. Some friends and I, we went to Bali a couple of years ago for a retreat. It was
Yummy.
I love Bali, and
I know. I want to go to badly,
yes,
for
yes,
sure. Yeah, yeah,
magical. But it's what I would love to what I like about travel is for me, it's been about how to pull back pieces of yourself that you've given away and
yeah.
travel as like a portal through time to help you reconnect with yourself and feel you're in a new space, your new environment, and you get to just be a part of whatever culture you're in and forget about almost forget about what's happening at home, and it gives you that space to just release. Where and I'm big on beaches and water and all the things, and so I just really know that being near water is a great way to release and to come back to yourself.
I love water also. Is shores by chance your environment in human design?
Yes.
Yeah. Shores is not mine. Mine is kitchens, and kitchens is like where the energetic activity is happening, where
Mm,
ideas are being birthed. But
mhm.
I definitely find that water is a stabling source for me. I had not anticipated that the jungle would do that, and
Yeah.
the jungle was amazing. First of all, there's a lot of ley lines on this property,
Oh,
and the jungle is loud, y'all. Like, it is not a quiet space, but I never have in my life experienced more inner stillness and silence than when I was in the middle of the jungle. So all of that, all of nature and earth and all of that amazingness happening around me, and I felt so still and so able to think clearly and hear myself. And it really truly felt like this is where I got the idea where I said my morning affirmation. It really felt like there was a golden cord coming from the core of the earth through my body and connecting me. And I vibrated with the energy of the universe in this particular space. There was something really unique about it. But I agree with you on travel. I agree with you getting out of your regular routines and your comfort zones and finding going someplace where we're going to care for you.
mm,
You don't have to do any of the caring for is
right.
so lovely.
And we need that. We need to have someone to us and to give us the space and the freedom to just be in the stillness and be present without all of the different calendars and the appointment and all the events you have to manage and doctor's appointments and insurance and all the things, it's just like, okay, I get to just be here, be still, and that's enough. And I'm enough in this space.
That's enough, and I'm enough. I love that. Feels like a lovely way to end this beautiful conversation. I'm so glad we had this scheduled for today because, as I find is always the case, the universe gives me what I need, even if I didn't know I needed it. And this centering and this grounding. But you are a gift. I am so excited to be part of your hemisphere now, and hopefully we can collaborate on more things in the future.
Absolutely. This has been such a pleasure for me as well, Heather. I've enjoyed it, and I feel grateful that we got a chance to have this conversation. Look forward to more conversations and in the future.
Yeah.
I think, people need to feel this grounded energy and space where you don't have to worry about what's happening in the world, but you can just come and find a place of peace and restoration.
Mm. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody who hung out with us.
Thanks.
We would love to hear. I can't speak for Samantha, but I think she's going to agree. But if you don't, then you go, Heather, I don't agree. We would love to hear what resonated with you. Like, drop in comments because I'm going to post this as soon as it's ready live. And we'll have clips. Let us know, like, what was it was something that lit you up, that made you feel seen or different or gave you an idea. We would love to hear any of that. At least I would. I'm sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's good in what other people are thinking and how they're feeling and how these conversations impact and how it makes you feel more present and grounded in the world that feels like it's on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Samantha, for being here. Thank you, everybody who joined. Kevin said he loves the idea of the chatbot for people anytime. Yeah, excellent.
Thanks,
For
Kevin.
sure. This was
Mhm.
great. Have a great rest of the day. It's only Tuesday. I feel like I've aged a month in the last day. And I'm like, it's not Friday. It's not Friday, really? But it's not. It's Tuesday. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. And we'll see you all out in Substack land.
All right. Mm.
Bye, everybody.